Detroit's one of the biggest, geographically, one of the biggest cities in this nation. And if we think that there aren't stories tucked away, if we think that there aren't stories contained within our young people, then we've lied to ourselves.
The Versus Project is a songwriting project that looks at the interplay of literacy and music in the literate lives of students. We're particularly interested in students who have us or help us think about different ways that we may conceptualize reading, writing, speaking, and listening beyond traditional notions of a standardized exam or a specific 5-paragraph essay. Students who come forth with rich and very literate lives around music, around songwriting, around composing songs and creating songs, and they're helping us rethink traditional notions of literacy in our schools.
We've talked about the definition of literacy as being something very broad, technical literacy, the ability to interpret and understand context. It's your worldview. It's many things. So I would hope that, number one, our students engage with that, the world at large, with themselves as individuals, and with how to frame that in terms of writing and reading.
In music education, a lot of what gets pushed is notational literacy. There's a real emphasis on kids learning how to read music. And I think what that misses is the host of ways that they are musical in their lives. This project allows students to music, if we're going to use it as a verb, in all sorts of different capacities. So they're creating with their iPads, they're putting down tracks that way. They're also creating lyrics and thinking about how that might work musically, like how that fits with the music, or in a verse or a chorus. They're learning structure, but without necessarily the same kinds of formal names. It's a much more open form of music education than practice that is very notation specific. So I think this is a very different kind of thinking for music education.
Song and poetry are two of the oldest languages that exist. It's because of their ability to transcend time, transcend cultures, even defy translation. And I think the same thing works for hip hop. It works for R&B, for country, for gospel, for jazz. It's making a language that will last, that must.
The songs that students are composing in the Versus Project are very much reflective of Detroit. They're very much reflective of students' communities and how students see their communities and families and their experiences from perspectives of strengths and assets. It's a different notion of writing, it's a different notion of literacy that I think really helps students in a way connect to this larger notion of literary presence. We very much see in the Versus Project students enacting this Detroit-based literary presence, how they are very specifically noting and writing themselves as participants, as contributors, not just of their communities, but also their schools.
When you get people in a circle, young people, talking about art and talking about their lived experiences, they're validating each other, they're learning from each other, they're growing our city, and I think also equally importantly, that they're sharing this legacy that people won't hear unless we really put the effort into authorizing their voices with music.